So I grew up in a family that disdained the imaginary. Not even the God of Abraham could get past the mezuzah on our front door. So how did I become the kind of kid who could believe that a vampire lived in her bedroom closet? A girl who could make a protective ritual out of tapping against the closet door 3 times and then wrapping herself head to toe in sheets and blankets. And what about that night when I heard my pet turtles, Mabel and Frankie, having a conversation? I can't tell you what they said. They were probably complaining, though. The water inside their tiny turtle island stunk like unwashed armpits. And then there was the night. My mother told the 4 of us girls, "No more underpants to bed." "You don't need them," she said. But I did. I needed to feel them under my nightgown, and I couldn't fall asleep without them. So I lay there in the bottom bunk wishing for my undies, too scared of the vampire to leave my bed. The next thing I knew, the bottom drawer opened and a pair flew across the room to me. It was a miracle. But it didn't feel so miraculous when I was 9. And I dreamt my Jewish grandmother's coffin was being carried by 6 nuns, only to wake up in the morning to find out she really had died overnight. And then one night, maybe 6 months later, my parents were having a dinner party. I kept creeping down the stairs with one excuse after another, hungry, thirsty, until one of the guests brought me back to my room. He nodded to the upper bunk where my oldest stepsister was fast asleep. "What's eating you?" he said. "Vampires?" I said. He didn't laugh, though. He didn't tell me I was nuts either, like my parents probably would have. Like I said, I was raised by people who didn't believe. But here's what he did tell me. He said, I could think of my life as a movie. And you can change the movie, he said, anytime you want. So I made a new kind of movie for myself, one without vampires or flying underwear or talking turtles. I only had one more unwelcome brush with the supernatural. It happened when I was 16, and I woke up one August morning knowing that my grandfather was dead. After that, I turned my nose up at anything I couldn't quantify, document, or witness for myself. Everything from vampires to gods. Yet for the past 20 years or so, I've been dipping my toe back into the murky waters of belief, only to pull it out again whenever anyone tries to slap a label on it. My friend Karen, she tells me, I'm not really an atheist. I'm not. You're an agnostic, she says. Possibly. There are moments. Like when I'm floating, belly up in the lake, and I watch the wind whisper through the dwarf pines that dot the white Shawangum ridgeline above me. Or in the early mornings, when I sit in the dark on my meditation cushion, and time holds briefly still. Then recently, when I paid a visit to my parents, my 93-year-old stepfather shook his head at me and said in the voice of a frightened child, I have questions. I took his bony hand in mine. About after? He nodded. It's your move, Dad, I said. Your movie, Dad. You get to choose what you think comes after. My mother shot me a sideways glance like, what are you, nuts? I hope not. Because I've come to believe that we all just need a narrative that works for us. Some people need to imagine vampires. For others, it's gods. For now, I'm satisfied with knowing that when the curtain goes down and the lights come up, my molecules will disperse to continue their part in a much larger story. And what's so scary about that? Thank you.